On Saturday, November 30th, 2024, President-elect Donald Trump sent shockwaves through global markets. He tweeted a bold threat: 100% tariffs on Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, the so-called BRICS countries, unless they abandoned any plans to create a new currency to challenge the United States dollar. This fiery statement sparked debates across the internet, with some speculating that BRICS is plotting to dethrone the dollar as the world's reserve currency. But is this fear justified? Can BRICS really create a currency to rival the dollar? To answer, we need to dive into the dollar's dominance, why BRICS dislikes it, and whether their ambitions hold water. The truth might surprise you. The biggest threat to the dollar may not be BRICS at all, but the United States itself. In 2001, a Goldman Sachs economist coined the term BRIC to describe Brazil, Russia, India, and China, fast-growing economies with massive potential. South Africa joined in 2010, making it BRICS. In 2006, Vladimir Putin organized the first BRICS ministerial meeting during a United Nations General Assembly. By 2009, Russia hosted the inaugural BRICS Summit, which has since become an annual event. In 2024, the group expanded to include Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates, forming what is now called BRICS Plus. This bloc represents roughly 45% of the world's population and 35% of global gross domestic product in purchasing power terms. BRICS is often seen as a counterweight to the G7, a group of Western powers. Unlike the G7, BRICS is more of a discussion forum than a formal alliance. But one issue unites them: frustration with the United States dollar's grip on global finance. The United States dollar holds a unique position. Central banks and financial institutions worldwide store it as their primary foreign exchange reserve because it is seen as safe, reliable, and backed by America's vast open economy. This status brings the United States significant advantages. A stronger dollar lets the United States import more goods, though this hurts American manufacturing, a point Donald Trump often highlights, pushing to devalue the dollar. High demand for dollar-based assets, especially United States debt, allows the government to borrow more than other nations. United States treasuries form the backbone of the global financial system. Most international trade, particularly in commodities like oil, is priced in dollars even when neither party is American, shielding the United States from exchange rate swings. Perhaps most crucially, this dominance lets the United States impose financial sanctions unilaterally, as the world relies on dollar-based finance and American banks. Since the 1960s, both allies and adversaries of the United States have grumbled about the dollar's dominance. BRICS countries in particular feel its sting. The United States has ramped up sanctions in recent decades, targeting nations like Russia and Iran, which rely on dollar-based systems for trade. These sanctions hit hard, freezing assets and blocking access to global markets. For BRICS, this feels like a weaponization of the dollar's power. In 2024, speculation about a BRICS-led alternative currency spiked, fueled by online chatter and Donald Trump's tariff threat. BRICS leaders often discuss reducing reliance on the dollar at their summits, dreaming of a world where their economies aren't at the mercy of American policy. But turning that dream into reality is no small feat. Overthrowing a reserve currency is incredibly tough. The dollar's strength lies in network effects. Everyone accepts dollars because everyone else does, ensuring recipients can use them anywhere. Predictions of the dollar's demise have circulated since the 1970s, when President Richard Nixon unlinked it from gold. Yet the dollar remains king. While its share of foreign exchange reserves has dipped slightly over the past 2 decades, it still dominates most transactions and an even larger share of non-United States debt. History offers one clear example of a reserve currency falling. In the early 20th century, the British pound gave way to the dollar, but this took 2 world wars and massive British debt to the United States. BRICS faces a steeper climb. Their economies, while significant, lack the unity and infrastructure to challenge the dollar's entrenched position. Among BRICS currencies, only China's yuan has the economic muscle to even dream of rivaling the dollar. China boasts the world's second-largest economy, but the yuan faces serious hurdles. The Chinese government tightly controls money flowing in and out, making investors wary. They don't want cash trapped in a country with restricted access. Surprisingly, China may not even want the yuan to replace the dollar. A global yuan would make it harder for China to devalue its currency, a tactic used to keep exports cheap. It would also shift global trade dynamics. Without the dollar as the reserve currency, the United States would import less, reducing its dependence on Chinese goods, something China benefits from. In the late 2000s and 10s, China tried internationalizing the yuan through Belt and Road loans, but most of those loans are now dollar-based, showing China's retreat from that ambition. BRICS leaders have floated ideas for a joint currency, perhaps tied to a basket of their currencies or even commodities like gold. But these plans remain vague and unimplemented. In 2024, Vladimir Putin pushed for a BRICS bridge, an interbank messaging system to rival the United States-led SWIFT network, claiming it would shield BRICS from American sanctions. The response? Lukewarm at best. Other BRICS members, like India, hesitated, wary of provoking United States sanctions by aligning too closely with Russia. The BRICS bridge also offers little beyond Enbridge, an existing system run by the Swiss-based Bank for International Settlements. The bigger issue is BRICS's diversity. India, for example, has less urgency to ditch the dollar than Russia, which faces heavy sanctions. This ideological divide makes unified action tricky, and further expansion of BRICS could deepen these cracks. Here's the twist. The dollar's biggest enemy might be the United States itself. Actions like Donald Trump's proposed 100% tariffs risk isolating the United States economically, shaking global confidence in the dollar. Escalating sanctions, as seen in recent decades, push countries to seek alternatives, even if those alternatives are weak. Politicizing the Federal Reserve, which controls United States monetary policy, could erode trust in the dollar's stability. Borrowing massive amounts of federal debt, currently at unsustainable levels, raises questions about long-term reliability. Even provocative tweets demanding global dollar use can backfire, making the currency seem less secure. If the world starts doubting the dollar's safety, its reserve status could wobble. No BRICS currency required. A shift away from the dollar would reshape the global economy. For the United States, losing reserve status could mean higher borrowing costs, a weaker currency, and less ability to influence global markets. For BRICS, it could mean more autonomy, but also chaos. Replacing the dollar requires building a system trusted worldwide, a task even BRICS struggles to imagine. The 45% of the world's population and 35% of global gross domestic product BRICS represents give it weight, but not enough to topple the dollar's network effects overnight. The early 20th century showed it takes seismic events, like world wars, to unseat a reserve currency. Today's world is volatile, but not quite at that level.